All
All
right,
right.
welcome everybody.
Well, we're glad that, and thank you so much, Dr. Petty. We'd like to welcome you to our 2026 Children, Youth, and Families at Risk, or CYFAR 4-H Military Professional Development and Technical Assistance, or PDTA, Notice of Funding Opportunity webinar. And what we are going to do now is just to introduce ourselves. My name is Bonita Williams. I'm the National Program Leader responsible for CYFAR. And I have been with NIFA for about 14 years, or coming up on 14, I should say.
And my name is Dr. Christopher Petty. I'm a program specialist assisting in the Division of Youth and 4-H alongside Shelley Manga, who I will let introduce herself.
Thanks, Dr. Christopher. My name is Shelley Bright Manga, and I am a program specialist in the Division of Youth and 4-H. And I have been with NIFA for 3 years.
And today we are going to cover or give you a NIFA overview, a program overview, application details and documents, application evaluation or the application evaluation process, tips for success, and additional information and resources. NIFA is the extramural science funding agency within USDA's Research, Education, and Economics Mission Area, or REE for short. NIFA invests in and supports initiatives that ensures the long-term viability of agriculture, and NIFA provides funding and strategic leadership for programs that ensure groundbreaking discoveries in agriculture-related sciences and technology that reach people and who can put them into practice. Now, we do have some new USDA NIFA priorities. I am not going to read these to you. Um, we'll just give an overview. And the thing that is going to be real important is that you review these yourselves and determine which NIFA priority is going to be important for your application. And the first one is the increase in profitability of farmers and ranchers. The second one is expanding markets and creating new uses of U.S. agricultural products. The third one is protecting the integrity of American agriculture from invasive species. The fourth one is promoting soil health to regenerate long-term productivity of land. The fifth one is improving human health through precision nutrition and food quality. Now, before I go on, Dr. Petty, I do want to say it is going to be real important that you, in your selection of the priority, that you make a real connection to that priority in your application. Okay. Now, with our purpose and priorities, um, oh, someone is joining us. This program seeks to support the implementation and capacity of the 4-H Military Partnership and Outreach Support Program. Professional development and technical assistance are provided to the land grant institutions and cooperative extension system so that in collaboration with other organizations, they can develop and deliver educational programs for military-connected youth. The educational programs are to equip military-connected youth in the skills that they need to lead positive, productive, and contributing lives. And the CMP PDTA, and that's our acronym, has 3 strategic objectives, and that is to provide professional development and technical assistance to land grant institutions or the land grant system and the cooperative extension system in collaboration with other organizations to ensure continued development and implementation of the 4-H program on military installations, and to support the development of cooperative extensions, educational 4-H, positive youth development programs in local, often rural communities for military connected youth based on identified needs and that are soundly grounded in research, and to integrate 4-H military partnership programming into ongoing extension programs for children, youth, and families ensuring that military connected youth continue to be a part of the extension programs. And eligibility includes all 3 types of land grant institutions, the 1862, the 1890, and the 1994. Application. I believe we're supposed to be passing this on to someone else.
Thanks, Dr. Williams.
Yes.
Alrighty, so we are going to be moving on to application submission and award limitations. Now, eligible institutions may not submit more than 1 application to this program as a lead institution. NOFO will disqualify both applications if an applicant submits duplicate or multiple submissions. So please try and work with your Office of Research or sponsored programs regarding your institution's process to select applications for submission in order to avoid this. Next slide, please. Centers of Excellence. Oh,
okay.
And I will pass it over to Dr. Williams.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Shelley. I think I stepped on your toes there a little bit and do apologize.
No problem.
Centers of Excellence. NIFA will recognize and prioritize Centers of Excellence applicants that carry out research, extension, and education activities that relate to food and agricultural sciences. And the COE, or Centers of Excellence, is composed of one or more of the following entities that provide financial or in-kind support to the COE. And below you have a listing there. And I won't read those to you.
All right, I'm going to visit with you a little bit about the details of the grant application. You'll see here on this slide, if you're following along in the NOFO, page 9, you have the different types of grants that NIFA offers. And as you can see from this slide, the one that is available is the education project type out of the 4 types you see there. And the one grant type that you will select as you put your application together is the standard grant type. And I'll talk a little bit more about each of those in the next slides. The project type description is an extension project. It conducts programs and activities for the people using science-based knowledge and informal education. It enables individuals to get such matters as certification programs, in-service training, et cetera, as you see on this slide, again on page 9 of your NOFO. And on page 10, we have the grant type that you would select, and that is the regular grant, which supports targeted original scientific research, education, teaching, extension, or integrated projects. There are no indirect costs authorized with this NOFO, so be sure to leave that blank. And if you want to follow along with the NOFO itself, this information is available to you on page 16. On the plus side, there's no matching. Matching resources will not be factored in the review process as evaluation criteria, so that is not a requirement for this NOFO. Some additional application details and documents that we will be looking for in the application process. This website right here is where you'll find the NOFO. You can click that link. If you would like, I can send you that link after this presentation. It is due July 20th, so a few more weeks to get your application in. Total funding is $550,000. The program code, and you're going to want to take note of that, is MC. There will be one application awarded for $550,000 total. And that information is available on page 8. On pages 13 through 15, you'll find information on the key documents that you must have in your application packet. As Benita mentioned earlier, the project has to align with the project goals that are listed, and you want to include that in your project summary and your abstract. You can have a maximum of 12 1.5 spaced pages of written text, and also 7 additional pages for figures and tables if you need that. You'll need a bibliography or reference list. If you use any of those materials, you're going to need a data management plan. And for other documents, see the NOFO and the grants application guide specifically. All right. Look at the bottom of that slide right there. That's a very important thing to note. Applications exceeding the page limitation will be returned without review. So as Shelley mentioned earlier, only one per university, and make sure you follow the limits that will be enforced: 1.5 spacing, no less than 11 point times New Roman font, 7 additional pages if you need it for text, figures, and tables. In that 12-page narrative, you need to have headings. You need to list the impact of the extension and outreach that you're going to do to achieve the goals of the project. You need to list out the cooperation and institutional involvement, if there's any others that'll be working with you, and you need to list your timeline. Another piece of the puzzle that you're going to have to put together in your application is the data management plan. More information on page 15 of the NOFO. This could be up to 2 pages. In that, you're going to need to mention the data that you're going to produce, what format it'll be in, how you're going to store and preserve any data that comes from this project, any sharing, protection, or public access available, and the roles and responsibilities of those involved. There is a website for further information that you see on the screen, and if you would like that link, I can give that to you again after the presentation. We'll have our contact information available, and if you have any questions or you want any of these links, those can be made available to you. Okay, only electronic submissions. You can't mail anything to us. You need to use the grant application guide for more details. Everything needs to be in PDF format, so no Word documents, no Excel spreadsheets. Your budgets, your narratives, everything's got to be converted to a PDF. We don't recommend you use a third-party PDF builder because sometimes those don't transfer correctly, and we also don't want you to password protect your information. Again, may not transfer where you need it to go. I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Williams, and she's going to speak with you about the application evaluation process so you can get an idea of how your application will be reviewed.
Thank you, Dr. Petty. All right. Here we have our 4 components. The applications are assigned for review to at least 3 reviewers who have an expertise in this particular area, and reviewers will produce individual reviews of each application, evaluating the application's strengths and weaknesses. And the written reviews are used to begin panel discussions with other reviewers serving on the peer review panel. And through all of these discussions, the peer review panelists come to a consensus on the final rating and the ranking of the applications. Evaluation criteria 1, potential for successfully supporting the implementation and capacity of the 4-H military and outreach support program. Number 2, your proposed approach. 3, your budget and your narrative. Now, this is a typical timeline. We are going to have a truncated timeline this year, but that'll give you an idea of what we normally, what our normal timeline would be.
All right, we're going to turn it back over to Shelley.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Petty. All righty, tips for success. So before you start writing, here are some things you can consider. You want to make sure your topic is appropriate for this program. You don't want to waste your time applying to the wrong program. You also want to make sure you're eligible to apply for this program. You're going to ask yourself questions like, do you understand the requirements from the NOFO? Are you familiar with the application review? Or if you needed resources to be able to manage the project. Some tips would be to write clearly and logically, prepare a budget with a strong justification, obtain critical input from experienced and successful colleagues, fill out forms completely and correctly, use tables and figures to help illustrate important points, and write for both the expert and the novice. Planning checklist. Application writing is a stressful or complex process and involves several steps. Planning for writing an application needs a strategic approach. So the planning checklist can help identify and prioritize several steps like locating the appropriate program, assembling a team, creating a timeline, completing all required forms and registration, completing the required documents, editing and converting to PDF, and submitting on time. Document checklist. Application package may need several documents as mentioned in the NOFO. Complete and accurate application packages help reviewers in understanding the intended project and its requirements. Create a list of documents needed from the NOFO. Please submit as PDFs. This is very important. Mark documents complete as you go. The checklist will also help when you're submitting the documents in the system, as you can mark off when done.
Okay, I have a few more slides of information that will help you as you put together an application. Again, if you would like any of the links that I'm going to provide for you, I'd be happy to get those to you. We have what's called a data gateway at NIFA, and you can put that in your search engine under data gateway, or there is a link that I can provide to you. You can see it. It's not very clear, but it's up in the top left corner, www.nifa.usda.gov/data/data-gateway. It'll take you to this data gateway page. And if you go down and you click on that little blue tab there at the bottom, Launch NIFA Enterprise Search, you get a page that looks like this. This is the NIFA reporting portal. It can be used to find funded awards. So if you're interested in what kind of awards have been funded previously, you can use this search function. I recommend this advanced search. You can put in data, including the program code MC we shared earlier, dates, keywords for the program like military or 4-H, and then it will pop up the different NIFA awards that have been funded in the past, which is a great resource for putting together your new application. Some of the resources that are available that will help you in putting together your grant application include links to funding opportunities, a flowchart, training resources, a policy guide, indirect cost information, and guides for preparation and submission of NIFA applications via grants.gov. Again, these are all resources that are available to you on the internet to help you out with your application. And if you would like the links to any of those, I'd be happy to provide those. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Williams to close us out.
Thank you. We're just going to ask if you have any questions for now. And we will try to answer your questions.
We do have a chat function available, and you can see our contact information there if you have any other questions as you're working on your application. I'd be happy to get back to you. I think we either did a good job or they are formulating their questions now, Dr. Williams. I don't see anything in the chat. I do see a hand raised for Dr. Edward Sheldon.
Okay, now I can say.
There you go.
Me now. I was pushing the wrong microphone icon. Yeah, quick question. Early in the talk, and I think it's maybe splitting hairs. Early in the talk, you mentioned that on one slide that this was an education grant, and you had extension grant crossed out, and then on the next page, I think you said it was an extension grant, which I thought it was. I mean, that's what the NOFO says. I'm just looking for a little clarification there.
Right. Let me go back to that for you. The project type is extension. The grant type is a standard grant. And the description of that is well, actually, I think you just pointed out you might have had a typo on that first slide. It should have been extension. It said education. So it looks like you got a mistake there. It should be an extension project. Right. Programs and activities that deliver science-based knowledge and information, et cetera, through extension work.
That's what I was thinking, but I wanted to double check. Thank you.
Correct. All right. And Mr. Elliott says no questions. Thank you. Again, there's our contact information if you have any further questions for us.
Well, I guess that is it. We thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see your application. We do have
Appreciate it.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you. And we do have our non-discrimination statement. I won't read that to you, but basically it says we don't discriminate. That's the summation. But if you do want to report anything, I will say this. You can certainly contact us in that third paragraph if you have an issue with discrimination.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your time.